Jobs chronicles the epic and turbulent story of a trailblazing entrepreneur who launched a digital revolution that changed the world.
Boss!
What are you working on?
It's a computer terminal that hooks up to the TV for the display. Steve?
Wow. You did a lot with his physicality. Was that really important for the two of you to work on, sort of how he walked and the way, he sort of smiled?
Yeah, it was a real communication between Josh and I of actually recognizing, how he used his hands.
If it doesn't have that, it's gonna fail.
He's an artist and an inventor, and his hands are so important because they are the very manifestation of his creation.
We need to come up with a name.
Apple.
That is so much better than phaser beam computers.
It's also difficult because he's so simple. He didn't have all that idiosyncrasies as someone from the Deep South or, something that would identify him. He was just a guy from Northern California.
There was one point when I started watching him gesticulating and talking and the way he counted and how sort of gentle and long his hands were. And we talked about sort of featuring some of those things and the details and how we could feature them to sort of accentuate that part of his persona.
Action! Those are small things, but they take a lot of work. And then to just let it go and inhabit the character, which is what you have to do to believe it.
Welcome to Apple Computer.
Is this everything?
Startup.
And that's the other thing, though, because he is a character, right? I mean, you guys made a film, but he's a person that I think a lot of people feel they know, whether they do or not. Do you feel there's a sort of heightened sense of responsibility because of that?
He's an iconic figure that is still very much in the zeitgeist. Usually by the time you get around to making a movie about somebody, they've sort of left the zeitgeist, and maybe you're telling the story about this person that my parents loved, or that Abraham Lincoln, or some great hero long ago.
After today, you will never look at computers the same way again.
There's something identifiable about the fact that he was so imperfect, even though we perceive him as being somewhat almost iconic and perfect in our memory of him. But he started off just like all of us with such struggles and doubt. And that is what the movie's about. It's about the business of vision and how do you articulate that and how do you fight through your own imperfections and your own struggles.
I'd like to introduce you to the iPod.
The challenge part is there's an enduring memory of him that is the guy with the glasses, the guy with the shaved head, the guy with the beard, the guy with the turtleneck standing up giving a keynote and trying to break down the persona of who he was before that, because he only became that guy. He wasn't always this master presenter. Trying to break that mold and then reconstruct it throughout the film, that was a daunting task.
In life, you only get to do so many things. We're gonna make Apple cool again.
I actually have a lot of friends and coworkers that knew him and love him and admire him and care about him, and I am one of those people who admire him and admire the things he's done. And so there's a lot of pressure to make it right.
Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Made in Hollywood.